on YouTube. Gotta make sure I'm muted so I don't hear myself talking. All right, it's already muted. Perfect. So we'll get started here in about 1 minute. All right, Jackie from Texas. Excellent. Garrett from Ontario, Canada, primary teacher, and they start on the 7th of September. And Shauna from Milwaukee, digital learning coach, September 6th. Awesome. Glad to hear that you still have a little bit of time left to prepare. So that's great. And again, for those of you that are just now popping in, if you could, in the chat window, let me know where you're from, what you teach, and when you go back to school, if you haven't already. All right, like I said, we're going to start here in about 10 seconds, maybe less. We'll see. As soon as that clock flips over to 3:30, we are on our way. Carrie from Oregon, start after Labor Day. Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Carrie. All right. Well, according to my clock, it is 3:30. So we are going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump right into this. All right. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Jon Smith. For real, I am the iPod teacher on Twitter. So if you are on Twitter and you want to give a shout out, that's great. If not, that's okay. You can also email me at johnsmith@bookcreator.com if you have any questions about anything that you hear today. I taught special ed for 12 years, mostly 5th and 6th grade. And then after that, I was a technology integration specialist for 7 years at a high school. I am now the teacher success manager here at Book Creators. So lots of webinars, lots of training, sales support, renewals, basically anything I can do to help teachers best utilize their licenses. That's really what I'm here for. So I'm glad everybody's here joining me today. I'm married. I've got 3 kids, 12, 8, and 5. I can't believe my son just started middle school and my one daughter just started kindergarten. They're getting way too old, way too fast. That is for sure. I love golf and I love clean cars. So I'm actually a certified auto detailer on the side. So I love clean vehicles and yeah, so that's a little bit about me. And today, our agenda, we're basically going to take a look at Book Creator and ways that we can use Book Creator to get ready for back to school, right? And maybe it's back to school activities. Maybe it's preparing for back to school. There's lots of ideas that we're going to throw out at you here today. So again, I'm glad that you are here with me. Now, a little bit of housekeeping business before we get started. The chat window, which most of you have found already, is a great place to put your aha moments, your thoughts, your ideas, that kind of stuff. But then we also have a Q&A box. All right, and I am here alone today. Sometimes I have somebody helping me out. My other teacher success manager, Catherine, sometimes helps me out, answering questions and things like that. But I am here today by myself. So if you do have any questions, please put those into the Q&A box, okay? That way I'll be able to see them. So again, aha moments, ideas, things that excite you, put those into the chat window. Q&A, question stuff, put those into the Q&A box, and I will be more than happy to answer those for you, all right, as we go along. Now, first things first, before we get into all of the back to school goodie stuff, I do always like to mention a couple of things. So if you are brand new to Book Creator and you've never used Book Creator before, then you are definitely going to want to sign up for an account. And I'm going to put that link in the chat window. So if you have never seen Book Creator before, you're going to go to app.bookcreator.com, which I just put in the chat window, and you're going to sign up for an account. You're going to answer some questions, kind of jump through the hoops, and eventually you'll get in here and your account will be created. Now, I always love to go into the teacher dashboard and kind of show people a little bit about what's going on here for a couple of reasons. One, because there are tons of resources. So in here under the Discover section, lots of resources, books written by students at every grade level. So you just click on the grade levels here and you can see these amazing books. We have books written by our ambassadors, so all kinds of important information and ideas in these different books here. And we have books by subject. So if you don't teach, reading and language arts, English, things like that, then you can certainly think of other ways that Book Creator can be used in all subject areas by looking at the links here. All right. And after that, right, after you look at some of the resources and get some inspiration, especially if you're new, you may still want to know a little bit more about using Book Creator. And we have tons and tons of videos on our YouTube channel, right? So if you're ever curious, you can go to YouTube and search Book Creator, and you'll be able to see a lot of our recorded webinars right there. So you can always go back and get ideas there. But we also have our certification program. And once you scroll past my really bad haircut, you can see here on the left, we have 18 videos that will take you on a deep dive into all of Book Creator's features, followed by a quiz. Watch all the videos in your own time, whatever order you want to watch them in, and then take the quiz. And when you pass that quiz, you become a Book Creator certified author. You get a cool badge. You get an awesome certificate of attendance. And then you, like I said, will have a deep, deep understanding of how to use Book Creator in your classroom. So again, if you are brand new to Book Creator, and even if you're not new and you just need some refreshers or some ideas on how to use Book Creator in your classroom, that certification program is definitely going to be your friend. All right, now, as we continue to move on through our webinar here today, our main focus is going back to school with Book Creator. And so I have, there are some amazing resources on our website. Here is our blog post that I'm going to put into the chat window all about back to school. All right. And so definitely want you to take a look there. All right. Maja already did the certification. Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. But this website that I just put into the chat window will have all of these books and resources. And so I'm not going to go through all of these, but there are so many ideas inside this book about how to use Book Creator in your classroom. All right. Now, I think one of the most important pieces, we've already kind of talked a little bit about getting started, but one of the most important pieces, especially if you have used Book Creator before, is kind of that housekeeping business. Because I'm going to go here back to my library. I'm sorry, my teacher dashboard. And you can see here that I have hundreds of libraries, right, that are all here that I'm part of, things like that. So I want to talk a little bit about that housekeeping business first, because if you are a current user and you're moving into a new school year, you probably have leftover books and leftover libraries from the previous year. And you may or may not need those libraries. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about what this looks like. All right, so here in my teacher dashboard, this is where all my libraries and books will live. But again, maybe I don't necessarily need them. All right, so here are my libraries that I have. And if I find out that there's a group of books, a library that I don't need anymore, I can click the three dots on the library itself and then archive that library. And what that archiving does is it actually fake deletes your books. All right, it doesn't actually delete them at all, but it puts them here in this little drop down that says archived. And so here I can always go back and look at any of my archived libraries that I might need. And if I want to bring that archived library back to life, I just click on it and then click the three dots and say restore. And what that does is that brings that library back to life. All right, so there it is, the people of TCEA. So I can always get it if I want. If I don't want it, click the three dots and say archive it anyway, and it kind of just goes away. All right, and gets kind of out of my view. The same thing if you have joined a bunch of other teachers' libraries. All right, so for example, if I have joined Mrs. Wilson's templates here and I don't want to see that anymore, I can click the three dots and I can leave that person's libraries. All right, so if I click leave library and click OK, that means I am no longer part of that person's library. And again, so I'm just kind of cleaning up the business here so that I don't have to see all of the stuff that I don't want anymore. All right. Ooh, great question, Carrie. All right. So absolutely love this. fantastic question. The question is, can students and parents still read books in archived libraries? All right, so this is an important question, and there are two parts to this answer. So again, this is being recorded, so if you have to go back and get these answers again, no worries, you'll have the video. But great question. If inside of a library there is an individually published book or multiple individually published books inside that library, and you go to archive the library, you can archive the library, and any book that is published, whether it's private or public, any book that is published is still visible. All right, so this is great. So if you've shared published books out with parents and said, here's little Johnny's work from the school year, they can still access those books as long as they have the links. All right, they just can't edit them. Students can't edit them, but they can still access the published books. Now, here's the flip side of that. In this case, with this TWIMA library, sometimes teachers, instead of publishing 35 individual books, will publish an entire library. In this case, I've published all of the TWIMA books. If I go to archive that library, it will not let me do that, okay? So individually published books, you can archive the library, everything's good. If you've published the entire library, it won't work. So you have to unpublish it before you can archive those libraries. But Carrie, great question. All right, Shauna, once the library is archived, the students can no longer access their own books, correct? Correct. So if the students, if the library is archived, the students will not be able to access those books any longer. Of course, unless they're already published, and then the students can still see their books. But once you archive a library, they will not be able to go in and edit their books anymore. All right. So that was a little bit of the housekeeping business right there within Book Creator. All right. And so again, we have tons and tons of ideas for using Book Creator in the classroom. And if I click on this back to school book again, and kind of go to the table of contents here, again, tons of ideas. What if you're new? What if you're, one of archive libraries, all that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of information in this back to school book. Yeah, Jackie, so great question. Jackie wants to know if I can show how an individual book is published. Absolutely. So when you're in your library, underneath whatever book it is that you want to publish, you're going to click the share button and you're going to click publish online. It's going to ask you to give it a title and an author, and then give it a short description about, what the book is about. Then you can decide if the book is private or public. All right. Private means only the people with the link can see it. Public means anybody on the web can see it. So it's totally up to you. Then you can decide if you want to allow remixing or not. And basically that allows other people to copy your book and then edit it. So if you want that, great. If not, that's totally okay. And then you simply click publish online. That's it. Your book is now published, and you can copy the link right here, send it off to parents, community members, Twitter, wherever you want to send it, let people read it. And then once your book is being read, there is a section here called analytics. So if you're on one of our paid versions, you can see analytics and you can see how many times the books have been read and what countries those books have been read in, which is very, very powerful. All right. So definitely an awesome feature there. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some of the ideas for using Book Creator. And so this book has actually been published online, and I'm going to share that here to everyone in the chat window. And so this is some teacher-created resources and ideas for using Book Creator in the classroom. So I absolutely love these. Now, some of them maybe not as valuable as others, especially if you've already started school. But if you haven't started school, some of these are going to be really awesome. Okay. So number one, first idea is a meet the teacher kind of book. Now, again, my kids just went back to school, and our school system that we're in uses something called Parent Square. And so in Parent Square, the teachers can send parents messages and they can say, welcome to school and that kind of stuff. But I'll be honest, it's all text-based, right? There's not a lot of interesting stuff that gets sent in there. Every once in a while, somebody will send a picture of, something that's happening. But for the most part, it's just a lot of text, okay? And a lot of the teachers just said simple messages like, I'm excited to meet your son or daughter, welcome, our open house night is, whenever. So one of the first ideas that I have is being able to create a meet the teacher kind of book that you can then share out with potential parents and students. So if I were to make a book, maybe I have a video introduction, right, of who I am. Maybe I have some interesting facts about me that I've created in a comic book. Maybe I want to add some photos from the classroom and actually say, this is what your classroom looks like, and get kids excited that way. So whether it's a Meet the Teacher page or a Meet the Teacher book, I think this is really, really awesome. And again, if I click the plus button in Book Creator and add all kinds of images, use my camera, use the pen, text, record my voice, there are so many ways that you can get kids excited. I also think that a really awesome idea would be to actually show a lesson in your book. So, if you want kids to get excited about middle school math or something like that, have a recorded lesson that you've done in the past that your kids absolutely loved. Put that in there and say, here's a taste of something that you will experience in class this year. Again, just get these kids excited, tease them, kind of like a movie trailer, right? Get them pumped up about something. And then when they come into school, they're ready to go and they're really ready and excited. Now, some schools have taken this idea of this Meet the Teacher book and kind of stepped up the game a little bit, which takes us to our next idea. And that is to update the staff directory. All right. So I work with schools all over the world. And one thing that I have noticed, especially in the last year, is that teachers are changing positions, right? They're changing positions, they're changing schools. Some people are retiring. And so going to a lot of district websites looking for new contact information for somebody that may have left can sometimes be difficult. And I'll be honest, I've seen a lot of staff directories, and you know what? None of them are really that great. All right, it's usually just a name, maybe a phone number, and an email, and that's kind of it. I don't really know maybe what their position is. I don't know what they look like. I don't know who I'm talking to, right? That kind of stuff. So I love this idea of creating some kind of enhanced staff directory. And so a lot of schools are starting to make these by creating collaborative books and allowing their teachers to create pages inside of this book. Now, because I mentioned collaboration, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So some of the schools that I've seen are creating an individual book. It's just blank. And they go out to their teachers and say, make a page in this book and tell me about yourself, get kids excited about your classroom. So whoever owned that library will go to this blank book, click the share button, and click collaborate. And then they will turn on collaboration. And that will allow anybody that joins this library to collaborate on his book. So they will invite, by clicking the invite code here, invite all of their teachers into the library. They'll go into this book and they will add a page about themselves. Now, for some people, that's a little bit nerve-wracking. Why? Because there's always this chance that somebody might mess something up. Okay, teacher A goes in there, fills out this page, does some amazing work. Teacher B comes in there, goes on that page and starts deleting some of that amazing work. All right, so that's a little bit nerve-wracking. So another option is to just have every teacher make their own book. So if I pretend here that these books are all books that teachers have created, all right, all about their classrooms, then as the administrator on the account, or on the library, I can go to the book option, combine books, and I can select all of the teachers' individual books, click next, and it pulls a copy of all of those books into the one book. And now I can take that one book, publish it, and share that out with people. And then it's kind of like easy collaboration without all the fear, right, that something might go wrong. So I absolutely love that idea of being able to create these amazing staff directories. And can you imagine going to a website, clicking on the staff directory link and seeing this beautiful, amazing book with videos and photos, audio buttons, class sample lessons, things like that. You want people to get excited about your classroom or your school? That's it, right? So I absolutely love this idea. Yep, I see some other people love this idea as well. Awesome. Okay, next idea. School maps. Now, for people who live in a community, this may not be that big of a deal, all right? Especially if you live in a small school community. The community that we live in, there's about 6 schools, right? 6 or 7 schools, not a big one. My wife grew up in this area. She knows where all the schools are. I taught in this area for 7 years. I know where all the schools are, so not a big one. But there are some districts out there that have hundreds of schools, all right? Very complicated city layouts, right? Things like that. So why not use Book Creator to create a map of where your school actually is? All right, and this is, again, could be really important for people who are newer to the community and have no idea, right, where this is. So in this example, if I click the plus button and click more, then right here, there's the option to add a Google map. And so I click on it, I put in an address, and then I can zoom in, zoom out, find my community. All right, and here is in this example, Mira Costa High School, and it says find us here. So maybe I click the plus button, go to shapes, and add some of these really cool shapes to help people figure out where we are. Maybe I add an arrow, right? You just say, boom, we're right here. Okay, that's it. And maybe I put a shape in here, and then I can put in the actual address, right? I can move that shape here, put in the address so people can see it. So again, really awesome. Sandra, yes, love this idea of students being able to create an all about me book. And I'm actually going to talk about that here in just a second. So as an FYI, I think my wife and kids just got home. When they come in, the dog's probably going to go crazy. And if she does, I apologize. All right. I want to front load everybody with that, a little bit of information. All right. So there's a school map. Now, I like this idea of a school map, but I also want to take it and step it up just a little bit further, because sometimes schools are very large. I was just doing a professional development in a school district, I think it was last week or the week before, and the professional development was in high school. And you know what? This was one of the biggest high schools I have ever been in, and I could not figure out their numbering system. All right. They had some A classes in with the B's. They had some B classes in with the C's and C's, and I couldn't figure it out. The only thing I needed to know was where my classroom was. All right. So that I could find out how to get there. In the old days, when I was in school, I remember getting a copy of a classroom map that looked very similar to like this, right? That's on a page, a building map. And it was like this. It didn't have any numbers on it, right? Didn't have anything on there at all. And so I love this idea of taking that boring old piece of paper map, even taking a photo of it, sticking it in Book Creator, but then enhancing it a little bit by drawing lines, adding some emojis, telling people, hey, if you enter this door here, you're going to go down the hallway, and I'm the last class right there where the X is. All right, so you can use the pen tool by clicking the pen tool. Maybe go to the, oops, not that. Sorry, I clicked the wrong pen. Clicking on that, maybe adding some cool rainbow colors and just saying, hey, look, if you come in this door, you're going to go down the hallway here. And at the end of the hallway, you're going to hang a right. And we're the classroom with the X. All right. So lots of different ways that you can kind of show where you are in the classroom. And then if you want to take it another step, my favorite idea is this one. And that is a video tour of the actual school. So some kids don't respond real well to these 2D maps, right, with arrows and things like that. But maybe if I take a camera and I just videotape myself walking in the main entrance, walking down the hallway, walking to the actual classroom, and then taking a tour of the classroom with video, or taking a tour from the video to the library, or a video from the classroom to the bathroom or to the cafeteria, right? Or something like that. I think that is very, very powerful. So in here, we call it a GoPro video tour of the school. Yes, very easy for diverse learners, kids who are very visual, students who can't read, right? Lots of different ways that we can do these video tours. All right, next. a message from the principal. I know, again, on a lot of websites, I see messages from the principals, and maybe you see a static image of a principal on a website. But a lot of times I don't see videos of the principals. I don't hear what the principal sounds like until I get out of, or maybe if I get in trouble or they come into my classroom or something like that. And that's not really the vibe, right, that we want to give as principals. And so I love this idea of taking a picture of the principal's office, taking a picture of the principal, putting it into a book, and then having an audio button or even clicking on media and adding a video, right, using the camera tool of the principal actually saying, "Hi, welcome to our school. Glad you could be here," that kind of stuff. So I absolutely love this. Yeah, and you know what, Sandra, I think this is a great comment. And the comment was, this helps reduce anxiety, right? Anytime any of us go into something completely foreign and unknown, there's a little bit of anxiety, right, that happens. And so being able to reduce that anxiety is huge. And maybe that's because we gave a tour of the building. Maybe that's because the kids now know where the bathrooms are. There's no question about it. Maybe it's because they've seen the principal, they've seen the teachers, they know all of these things. That, in my opinion, is very, very powerful. All right, another idea, classroom rules and procedures. Why not create a book of classroom rules and procedures and allow your kids to take that and share that with their parents? One of my favorite things, though, about classroom rules and procedures is me, as the teacher, not making them, okay? I enjoy having the kids make the rules because, again, it gives them more of a sense of ownership, that you're the ones that came up with the rules. I didn't just impose these rules on you. You came up with the rules yourselves because you thought that was fair. Now we need to follow those rules. All right, so you can create the rules here in Book Creator. One of my favorite things that we used to do at the high school was a fashion fashion show. All right, so we would have on the first day of school, everybody would come into the auditorium and we would have, the principal's message and welcome and all that stuff. But then we would have a fashion show of fashion no-nos. All right, this is not how you're supposed to dress when you come to high school. And it was great, very well received. So why not do the same thing here, right, in the classroom rules? You could have a classroom rule, and then underneath you could have a video of how not to follow that classroom rule, followed by an example of how to follow that classroom rule, right? What does it look like? What does it not look like? And I think that would be very powerful. And then kind of on a side note, somebody told me this a while back, and I think that I don't know why this has stuck with me. I think it's just an interesting thought. And that is, don't create classroom rules that a dead person can follow. All right, and I just think, if you think about that for a second, I think it makes a lot of sense, right? If your classroom rule is don't move, right, or stay in your seat, then that's a rule that a dead person can follow. Then it's probably not a real good rule. You want your rules to be active, and you want your rules to encourage the right behavior, not just complying because I'm like a dead person. So anyway, I think about it. The more you think about it, the more it makes sense. But anyway, I just kind of like that as a side note. Staff guides. So a lot of times, with Book Creator, teachers think about using Book Creator in their own classroom. Principals think, oh yeah, Book Creator can be used in classroom. Great idea. But you know what? There's so many other ways that you can use Book Creator. This school, for example, uses Book Creator for all of their newsletters. So they make Book Creator newsletters and share those out with the staff. Here's an example of a staff manual. This book right here happened to be from the school district that I used to work in. And we created a professional development and coaching manual. So in here, if you're interested in looking at apps for digital video making, here they are: human resources, digital citizenship, storytelling, and teachers would just simply click on those areas and would tell you a little bit more. So for example, in the district I worked in, we had iPads. So if you're interested in video tools, then here are some of the tools that we might give you, right? And here it is. Here's an example of what it's about, a video showing you a completed example followed by some extra screenshots. So lots of ways that you can use Book Creator in your classrooms. Now, the last idea that I want to share with you before I show you some other cool samples and get student getting to know you books that you might want to be able to use in your classroom. The last example is a yearbook. And I know what you're thinking. You're kind of like, wait a minute, it's the beginning of the school year. I don't want to think about a yearbook yet. This is the perfect time to think about a yearbook, because you can start collecting the valuable information and resources for that yearbook starting from day one. So why not create your own yearbook using Book Creator? How do we do that? If I go into my library and click New Book, there is a button here that says Templates. And one of the templates that we have is a yearbook. And so we have all of these beautifully designed pages that you can take, edit, do whatever you need. You don't want 2021, get rid of it. You want these images, get rid of them. And as you click and add more pages, there's lots of other ideas. I love this one here, example questions, things that students, so they can reflect on their school year. Click the plus button. Again, so many ideas of timelines, sports and awards, different things. So you can literally make a yearbook for your classroom. And again, I think this is a great idea. Why not start it on day one? All right, so that is a yearbook example. All right, so again, back to school with Book Creator, I'm going to share this link here in the chat window. So if you want this book, that some of these books that I'm just talking about, you can get that there. One of our other example books that we have is a back to school template book. All right, so in our blog post, which I put in earlier, and I'm going to put that again into the chat window, our blog post talks about going back to school, and one of those is a template book. And so you can create a template book for your students. And when they join your library, they click the book icon and copy book. And then they're going to choose your library, and it makes an exact copy of that template that they can now edit, all right, to fit their needs. So what kinds of things, what kind of ideas do we have in this book? All right, so back to school, all about me. All right, so how do we get to know our students? Maybe we use an all about me page like this, where the students can put in their name, their age, date of birth, and their favorite thing to do. And then maybe it says, people say I'm, gives people a chance to kind of reflect on what they think others think about them. And it can put that into a book. And of course, you can edit these however you see fit. You don't have to use our ideas if you don't want them, or you can take things out and add your own pieces in there anytime you want. Next page, favorite things. And I do have to take a second and take a pause here for a second. If you are from the United States, you might be looking at the word favorite and thinking, hey, that's not spelled correctly. Well, the Book Creator team is from the UK. So in the UK, that is how we spell the favorite. So bear with me on that one. But if you want to, this is where you can change things, right? And spell it the right way if you're in the States. Okay, so you can edit anything that you see that you don't necessarily like. All right, moving on to the next one. All right, so this is part of the favorite things. Maybe you tell your students, hey, we all have favorites. I want you to put in 9 things that are your favorites. If you think that's too much, you can always cut that out. So right click, 2-finger click on a comic panel and just kind of cut it out and say, well, I don't need 9 different things. Maybe 6 is okay, right? You can unlock these panels and move them around and do what you need to do to make it the way you want it. All right, click on the next one. This one I think is rather interesting, right? What's in my locker? All right, my son just started middle school. And so guess what? He has a locker. And I know that kids love to do different things, right, in their locker. So maybe they want to hang up pictures of athletes or their boyfriends and girlfriends. Maybe they want to put up, pictures of, calendars or, whatever. All right, there's all kinds of things in student lockers, sweaty socks, book bags, like whatever. So why not take pictures and put those into Book Creator and just say, here's what's in my locker. And then maybe we could even write stories about, what does this locker say about the person who owns the locker, right? Could be a real interesting writing activity. Summer break, easy one, right? Your kids are just now coming back to school. What did you do over your summer break? Maybe they add some photos into comic panels and add some text in there telling you what they did. Maybe they write a personal narrative, right? Maybe they make a comic, talking about their entire vacation. There's a lot of different things they can do here. And again, it doesn't always have to just be photos and text, right? With Book Creator, it could be videos, it could be the audio buttons, it could be the pen tool. The allow your kids a little bit of space to be creative in this, right? It doesn't always have to be this, and this. These are just some examples that we've done. Coat of arms. This is an interesting one. My son is kind of the one that kind of spurred this idea, because at one point he said to me, I want to be known as the Kid 4, and I want to design my own logo, right, of myself, right, my brand, my identity. And so maybe your kids do that in Book Creator, and maybe they can use a coat of arms as the idea, or maybe you don't even use the words coat of arms and just say, can you make a logo, right, about yourself? So I think that's kind of interesting as an idea. Now, this is one of my favorites. All right. I absolutely love this idea. Find a classmate who. So a lot of times, when we go into a new classroom and we see all these new students that we haven't seen in a while, or some of the students that we have seen in a while, we kind of gravitate towards our friends that we've had. All right. I mean, maybe we look over at somebody that we don't think we have anything in common with, and we never really talk to that person. So in this activity, we have a bunch of comic panels, and it says, find somebody who has brown eyes. Maybe you change this. Find somebody who has eyes the same color as you do, right? So I might look for somebody who has blue eyes. Find somebody who plays Minecraft. Maybe it's soccer. Or find somebody who plays basketball or whatever. And now what you're doing is you're walking around the classroom and you're getting to know people. And you say, oh, I found somebody who plays guitar. You click the plus button. You take the camera, you sit that person in front of the camera, and you say, right, I play guitar. And you click use picture, and then that person's picture gets put inside the panel. And now it gives your kids an opportunity to meet other people and realize that, you know what, I play guitar, you play guitar. I didn't know that about you. And it opens up that door to creating new friendships and new understandings of other kids. It's kind of an empathy aspect of things. So I love this activity. This is definitely one of my favorites. Hopes and dreams. This is always an interesting one, right? What are your hopes for the school year? What are your dreams for yourself, for the world, for your future here? What do you have for goals for the school year? These are all real good things to get kids kind of excited about it and understanding. We talked about like your self logo, right? Why not have an identity or a brand for your classroom? Coming up with a class pledge, class motto, class tagline, that kind of stuff. I think that's really cool. And so you can design that in Book Creator as well. And then we have other cool little things that you can add in here as you see fit. All right, now we're kind of coming towards the end of our time. So in that blog post and also in that discover section, we have lots of ideas. Here's a digital portfolio. We have some digital citizenship activities and ideas that you might want to start with your students as they begin the school year. But anyway, just tons and tons of information here. So I don't see any extra questions in the chat window or in the Q&A box, but if you do have them, please let me know here before you head on out. But I just want to say thanks for being here. I really do appreciate it. I hope you all have a great school year, a great start to your school year if you haven't started yet, a great continuation of your school year if you have started. Be safe out there and happy bookmaking. Again, I'll stick around for a few minutes if there are any extra questions, but if not, that is the end of our webinar. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. Have a great day. All right. Yes, thank you, everyone. Yes, thank you, Sandra. Thank Jasmina. That's why we love Book Creator. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, so Lana, great question. Really anxious about the ability to add our own transparent gifts, any timeline perhaps on adding that feature. Unfortunately, I do not have any timeline on that. I don't know. I can give it to the engineering team and see what they say, but unfortunately right now I don't have a timeline on that. I think that would be awesome. Any chance we can have the link for the giveaway? So Nathan, are you talking about the giveaway? The giveaway for the school license? I think that might be what you're talking about. If that's what you're talking about, it is on the blog post. So here in the blog post, I'll put the link to the blog post in again. And if you scroll down about partway through, there is the link to that giveaway. So definitely make sure you fill that out and you can hopefully win something. All right. Awesome. All right. Looks like we're pretty good here. So again, thanks everybody. Oh, how long does it take to get the badge for being trained? Certification program, Nathan, takes about hour and a half, I think, to go through the whole thing. Not that long. It goes pretty quickly. The videos are relatively short. And I think once you get in there, start watching it, it's just going to fly by anyway. So it won't take too long. All right. Well, thanks everybody again. Have a great